Welcome to the Krista Escamilla Show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Krista Escamilla Show. And I'm so grateful that you're here with us, spending some time. We are here together to learn and grow and live our best lives and just really hopefully inspire you wherever you're at in your journey. We are grateful for today's guest. She is a friend for many, many years, probably as long as I've been in West Texas. And many of you already know her, but let me introduce her as the realtor, marketing, and dancing queen, Miss Victoria Printz. Victoria, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Krista. Good morning.
I'm so excited to share your story because, as I mentioned, I've known you a long time. And I think a lot of people, they've seen you, they know you, but they don't know your whole story. And so this is going to be fun.
We can't tell the whole story.
Okay,
but we'll give the highlights.
I love it, the highlights. Let's start at the beginning. Okay. How did you get into real estate and to West Texas?
Actually, I grew up in Midland.
Okay.
From the age of 8, so I consider myself a local.
You are a lifelong Midlander.
Lifelong Midlander.
Yes.
Went to Midland High School, went to San Marcos to college, Southwest Texas State, I guess, dating myself. And couldn't wait at that point to leave Midland and this dismal town and my parents who knew nothing.
Which we all think, right?
Right, which we all learned to eat our words later.
Wait, they do know a lot.
When I graduated from Southwest Texas, I lived in Austin, worked in a marketing position for a title insurance company, eventually becoming president there. And in 1989, I went on my first cruise for my cousin's high school graduation and decided I wanted to work on cruise ships.
That's it, I'm hooked.
I was 29. I was changed my lives at the 9 years. So did a little marketing blitz to get this job and sent 5 days of funny things, just attention-getting things. Letters, SOS, I'm not delirious, this is serious. I was trying to get somebody's attention.
And you'd already sent your resume, right?
Sent my resume 3 times.
Didn't hear back yet, so you thought, I'm going in with the hard marketing blitz.
This was the most expensive job search I've ever had. 8x10 glossy photos, resume, thought I was pretty well qualified for the position, but nobody called me back. So I sent a message in a bottle. Here's a message in a bottle for you. When can we schedule my interview?
I love it.
That was the
great?
clincher. Sent something for 5 days.
Uh-huh.
It didn't matter. After the message in the bottle on day 3, I came home to my reel-to-reel phone message recorder, thumping because it was full and it had broken. So rewound that and heard from all of these people I'd been contacting for months, saying, "Who are you? We've never heard of you. We don't have any resumes. Send your resume."
Right.
So
you got their attention.
Got their attention.
Yes.
And I think so many times with marketing, that's the key. You've got to get somebody to talk to you first.
Right.
Before you can sell them on whatever you're selling.
Absolutely. I think so that you got the job.
I did get the job. Actually, they all wanted me in marketing, and I wanted to work on a cruise ship. Mm-hmm. So they made me an offer I couldn't refuse, a cruise line. I was moving to San Francisco. So, of course, I had several going-away parties for myself, quit my job, sold all my stuff because I was going to live in like 600 square feet in San Francisco and be a marketing rep for one of the large cruise lines.
Which in San Francisco, 600 square feet was probably costing you a fortune.
It was a fortune. It was scary.
Yes.
But it was exciting.
But exciting, yes. Good times.
The week before I was scheduled to move, they called and said, well, the rep that's very established in this area with another cruise line wants this territory, but we're going to give you the same job in Cleveland, Ohio. And I was like, does that have 2 E's or 3? I don't even know how to spell Cleveland, but I'm not going.
Yeah.
So
I liked San Francisco and the cruise lines. That's what I was going for, not Cleveland, Ohio. No disrespect to anyone from Cleveland.
Love
sure,
Ohio,
it's a great place.
Actually, yes. So I got now I didn't have a job at all because it was all been marketing that I had been talking to the cruise lines about. So I just got in my car. I had to leave Austin. I was staying with a friend. Where's my welcome?
Yeah, because you'd already sold everything. You're ready to go.
I had a lot of CDs in the trunk. That's about all I had.
I love it. Oh, CDs. How I miss you.
Oh, I know. Something tangible. So drove out to Miami, stopping every couple hours to use the payphone. This is before I did have a bag cell phone in a big bag. I don't know if you
Yes,
remember
I do
those.
remember the bag phones.
But I don't even think I had the bag phone at that point.
Oh, my goodness.
And ended up setting up interviews with the cruise staff division,
Okay.
most of which are in Miami, and did have several opportunities. The really happy ending to that story was I ended up with one of the top jobs on the planet. It was being First Lady of the Royal Viking line, which was the highest rated ship on the planet.
I had no idea. I love that.
Yes,
And
yes.
such an appropriate title for you. The First Lady of the cruise line. I love it.
It was so much fun. We did 108-day world cruises. My first ship left from Hong Kong, and they didn't want me to wear the same thing twice in a cruise. It was lots of luggage.
This is great. Now you get to shop because you have to for your job. I love it.
It was formal sit-down dinner. I hosted a table of VIP passengers, and my job included being the captain's escort, the cruise director's escort to private VIP parties, also counting the passengers' laps, because they would want to know how many miles did I walk in a 108-day world cruise.
Oh, my goodness.
And I could tell them because I would count their laps in the morning from 7 to 8.
That's great. You'd be like, all right, you're on 50. Keep going.
Keep going.
Oh, that's
and they would turn
fantastic.
each other in. It was so funny. Victoria, so-and-so's cutting through the midships. Like, what am I going to do?
Like it's your fault.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I'm going to go reprimand that walker.
Take a mile off of them. That didn't count. That one did not count.
Didn't think of that. That would have been great.
Well, that is funny. What did you learn the most through that time of the cruise ships?
Oh, gosh. I learned that we'll probably never see everything. You know, when people say, oh, you've traveled all over the world, I just know the world there's so much to see.
Yes.
So many different cultures. It was a real eye-opener. As a Texan, as a Midland Texan, from the United States,
Yes.
traveling around and seeing, how humanity is, all walks of life, all parts of the world. It was the best education and such a special time.
I love it.
Yes.
So from there, when did you say, okay, I've had enough of the cruise lines, was it 9 years later? Was it?
Actually, I was 35.
Okay, 35.
I was 35 and had been on the ships for 6 years and decided I needed to go home. My parents needed me. My mother had been a realtor in Midland, so I had grown up watching her negotiate until 10 o'clock at night with the Harvest Gold phone with the long curly cord that was
Right.
attached to the
Yes.
wall.
Yes.
I'd wake up in the morning and she would be asleep, slumped over the kitchen table. That was her desk.
Uh-huh.
And I grew up with her saying, well, we'll sell Harvard to the Petersons and we'll move the Petersons to Bedford and we'll move Bedford over to... So she was
Yes.
a deal maker. This was before MLS, lockbox keys. I spent my childhood going to real estate offices to get lockbox keys.
Wow.
Not lockbox keys, house keys.
House keys. Oh my goodness. So you really saw her grow her business, and is that what inspired you then to go into real estate?
It was very inspirational. She was a great salesperson, and I knew at some point I would get into real estate. Mm-hmm. I suspected that I might be all in, so I thought I better do some things first. Hence the cruise
Yes.
ship.
I love it.
So I knew once I got in, I probably would be there for a while.
So what was it like once you did get in? Because you knew it was always in the back of your mind, right? What was it that, like once you got in there, what were you surprised the most by?
Well, I realized you really have to do a lot of follow through, and it was really just marketing, because the first thing you have to do is get somebody's attention.
And
to
you're
visit
good at
with
that.
them.
You are the best. You really do. I was telling you before we got started, if you get that text that said, Victoria left a gift at your front door, you're like, let me go see what she brought. It's so exciting. You really took that marketing to a more personal level. Where did you get that from?
Oh gosh, I think, don't you feel special when somebody delivers or you get in the mail a handwritten card?
Yes.
So I am in the midst of hand addressing 1,500 Christmas cards right now,
Oh,
so I
my
could tell you.
goodness.
But I love a handwritten personal note. And I think that always made my heart sing. And I think people love to be acknowledged. I've told every agent that's gone through my system, they could tell you, you can go to Dollar Tree or Target and get a little box of notepads. When we used to be on hold, which we're still on hold sometimes, but we're usually having to talk to a machine, right?
Right.
By pushing one or something.
Exactly.
But just write a 3-sentence note. People love the unexpected. It doesn't have to say, I'm a real estate agent. Do you know anybody buying or selling a home? It can say, thought of you today. Would love to see you soon. Kingdom blessings. Whatever.
Yes. Everyone loves to be thought of. Yes.
Everybody loves to be thought of. So as far as the gifts, they're not expensive things. They're just funny things like, oh, she thought of me today. So
Yes,
yeah.
I love that. So let's talk about the early years, because I know with any business, and for those of you that are small business owners and you start out, you may have this big dream. Did you ever dream that it would become what Victoria Printz Real Estate became? Did you ever think it was going to be that big, or did you just like want to sell one house and see where it went?
I am a pretty driven person as far as careers go, but I never really, I didn't know enough to have those expectations in the beginning. I did want to be, successful, and I wanted to be a high achiever. I was using the as if principle, speak as if it's true and it will be. So I would say, Midland's top agent, until that did become a reality, actually.
I love it. You manifested it.
Manifested it, yeah. I think so.
I love that. And I think that's key, because I think so many times we kind of cut ourselves short.
Absolutely.
Right? And so you did the opposite, and you said, I'm going to put it out there until it becomes true. And then, of course, it did become true.
Yeah. In fact, I used to listen to Brian, who am I thinking of? The motivational speaker that said that. I used to sleep with these headphones on, listening to his tapes.
Really? Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it. And we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back to the real estate journey in just a minute. We have so much to talk about today. But first we do something called Quote of the Day. Ooh. And so you get to pick out of the bowl. Okay. And let me mix them up here a little bit and see. Then you go ahead and pick one out and see what you get.
Let's see. Spirited.
The spirited. Yes.
Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. Mandela.
Yes. What does that quote mean to you?
Oh gosh. This is a loaded one. I think it is really, we all have to be really careful what we think, what we wish on others. So karma. Some people call it karma. Some people, I would call it a God wink.
Yes.
So we need to be really, really mindful of what we are thinking and saying about others.
Right.
Because that's probably what we're going to get back.
Right. And I think, they say, and there's so many quotes about, revenge and getting back and this and that, but who are you really hurting in the end? You're hurting yourself. And I think that's right. That quote kind of goes, well, if I'm going to, think these bad thoughts or resent, this person or that, you're really just hurting yourself.
Right.
It's like drinking the poison yourself.
Absolutely.
And so I just feel
and
like.
I speak as if I practice this daily. This is very timely. I would love to actually live my life like this.
Well, then it's a perfect quote for today.
It's a perfect quote.
It's a perfect quote. Is there a quote that you live by?
Oh, gosh. I really can't think of a quote. Honestly.
Or a mantra? Is there a mantra in life that you go, you know what? Every day I wake up and this is what I'm thinking, and I'm going to go try to do this in my day.
Well, I do think a lot about that as if principle.
Yes.
You speak and act as if it's true, and it will be so.
I love it.
So we do, I think, do a lot of creating. God has a plan for us, but we also have free will.
Yes.
And we choose, I think, how life goes.
Absolutely.
So I'm not really big on the victim mentality, because sometimes you get exactly what you expect.
I can see, I can see that because you are such a go-getter and such a, like, I feel like you are, like, every day, I feel like if I was in Victoria's house in the morning drinking coffee with her, you would be like, all right, let's go tackle this day. Let's go.
Right.
It's going to be a great
Right,
day.
right, right.
Yeah. And you're going to go for it. And the past is the past. And here we go. The future is the future.
I'm glad you think this.
I do. Is that true? Because that's what I see from you, Victoria.
We'll just say yes every day.
And I know we all do. We all. I feel like the world should be sunshine and
Right.
sunshine and rainbows and butterflies. And I know that it's not always like that.
Right.
But for me, if I feel like this, that as if,
Right.
That you were talking about, if I can think that, then it's going to be as close to that as possible. Right. Where if I get up and go like Eeyore, it's going to be a terrible day.
Right.
Then guess what? It's going to be a terrible day. So
that goes back a little bit. I want to just throw this in.
Yeah.
When I was doing all the traveling, there are so many people in situations that aren't like our situations here in Midland, Texas, United States of America.
Right.
And it was amazing to see the people that had nothing, that were so joyful, grateful, happy. I don't know if happy's the word, but content.
Yes.
Like the Apostle Paul, I don't know if he was a really happy guy, but he was joyful. And I saw a lot of that, and that was an eye-opener because we are so privileged to be born here, just by the way things happen. So,
and what a beautiful takeaway from your travels too, because I think until you see that joy in someone's face that has less, and we all are, trying to get more.
Right.
And you think, what? Maybe really the joy is in having less.
Right.
And not, so I love that. What a beautiful, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. Let's talk a little bit about business, because I know a lot of people are like, gosh, how can I build a business like Victoria Printz? And so, was there a business tool that you used? And I'm sure you saw a lot of this through the years.
Through the years, absolutely. But I want to tell you a story about my very first listing.
Okay, I would love to hear it.
It was $44,900, and it was in an area of town. I didn't have anything else going, so I had this house open every Saturday and Sunday for 4 hours each day.
Oh wow!
So pretty soon the neighbors started coming. They would bring me hamburgers, 44-ounce Diet Cokes. I knew all the neighbors, and guess what? I listed several homes in that neighborhood. They all bought $75,000 homes. Then when they sold, they bought $200,000 homes. I have one family here that I've sold 14 homes to.
Oh my goodness, that's incredible. Is that the most, like, if you looked at a family history, 14?
Yes.
That is really incredible when
Residential
you think about it.
properties that they actually lived in. It's 14.
14 homes through the years. So what year did you get started in real estate here?
95.
95. So 95. So let's see, you missed the booms and busts of the 80s. The 90s, though, you did see some booms and busts. Let's talk a little bit about...
I've always kind of kept my head down. I think if you, of course, won't watch the news because you're on it.
Right.
As far as starting with the news, the headlines, it's easy to get really overwhelmed. I get easily overwhelmed with
those
bad
statistics
news or expected things. So I can't really remember, a big down. I do remember when Chevron, Texaco, moved out of here, I had 53 listings in Grassland.
Oh, that's right. Was that the 90 or 98?
That was
97?
Probably, oh gosh, I can give wrong information here. I think it was 2002.
2002, okay. So 2002, that's a lot of listings in one area.
In one area.
Yes.
And, I think one important thing is to always know who your customers are. People appreciate that you know their name and their address.
Especially as a realtor, the address. That is true. Of course, name too. But,
right. But that was a challenging time. I remember carrying my inventory around because somebody might call and say, "Hi, this is Krista." "Hi. You have my house listed in Grassland."
You got to look real quick.
Right. But I think with anything, that key is follow through, follow up is what I usually say.
Yes.
So the only thing I had when I started was the $44,900, and that led to closing over 300 homes in 2019.
Wow.
So
that's a lot of homes. And that
It was a lot of homes.
what is that the most amount of homes that you closed in one year?
Yes.
And with that, I can't even imagine how you felt at the end of that year. Was it one of those where you go, wow, I made it, this is it? Or were you like, nope, we got to get more next year?
Interesting, because I changed my life again at 59.
We were talking about this every 9 years. So it's like
Right,
29,
right.
39, 49,
Right.
59.
50, and at 59, I was pretty tired.
Yeah.
And I decided, if I'm ever going to change my life, this might be the time to do it.
Gotcha.
So I'd been selling real estate in Midland for 25 years, thinking years ago I was going to leave in 2 years.
Right.
2 years turned into 5, turned into 25. And in 2020, we all have our corona baloney, well, I
Yes.
should say that, our COVID story.
Yes, yes.
I was just exhausted.
Yeah.
So I actually left Midland for 2 years, went to Vail, lived in the Metallica guy's house, because I thought I needed 12 bathrooms and my own recording studio.
Sounds
As
fun.
it turns out,
Sounds fun for a week.
one bedroom, one bath is plenty for me.
Wait, how did you even get into Metallica's home?
It's a long story of coincidence after coincidence, and I don't believe in coincidence. It was just a friend of a friend.
Gotcha.
That somebody had been living in the house for 2 years while they were building a house across the street,
Right.
and somebody else was going to be moving in 4 months. So they had this blank time. They needed somebody to be in the house and kind of house sit.
You said, why not?
I said, why not? Must be where God wants me, right?
Right. If they're asking, but everything happens for a reason, because you went through that through COVID and through
Right.
the transition and then to Austin, you realize Midland is your home. Tell us about how you got there.
When you work like a maniac for 25 years and all of a sudden you stop suddenly. By the way, it snows in Vail. I didn't stay. I was like, what's happening outside? Nobody told me that snows here.
No one told me I had to wear a big coat every single day.
Right.
And
I think the
toboggan.
locals were glad to see me go too, as I was sliding down the mountain, honking at me, go back to Texas.
No, I bet they loved you. I bet they did.
We'll leave it at that.
But it's good to be home.
It is good to be home. I went to Austin. I had lived in Austin in the 80s, of course. We can't talk about that. So Austin seemed like a good place to go. I wanted to be back in Texas. And what I learned was it's a beautiful world, but there's a place that is my home, my people, my community. I'm going to cry.
Oh, it's okay. That's all
Midland,
right.
Texas is it.
Oh, we're so glad you're back.
Thank you. It was 2 years of introspection, and I think looking back at one's life is, sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's like, wow, maybe I could have done this a little differently, or what did I miss?
Yeah.
So it came with a lot of reprioritizing, and I wanted to get home. I want to work. I want to sell real estate again, and have reopened a company here. But I don't know that I ever want to be as busy as I was. In fact, this week I've been in carpool line 3 times picking up my great nephew.
Oh,
Now that's a whole experience.
It is. Carpool line is an experience in itself. There should be books written about carpool line.
Etiquette, carpool etiquette. I had a knock on my window the first day. I didn't realize I had cut in the carpool line.
Oh.
Anyway.
You're like, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
I didn't know.
I know.
Anyway.
So just slowing down a little different.
Slowing down. My parents are here. Really my family.
Yeah.
And people I've known my whole life. Yeah. There's something comforting about going into a grocery store and knowing you're going to run into somebody that you know, probably a lot of people that you know.
Yes.
It's a friendly face.
Yes.
And anyway, it's a great place, and I'm so glad to be home.
Well, we're so glad that you're here. And I have so many questions. So the first one is, what do you love most about being a realtor?
Oh, gosh, I love people interaction. So it's a super exciting time for people. Mm-hmm. Buying, selling, moving, new opportunities. Somebody's always moving, so it's always a chapter in a person's life, and I love sharing that and just getting to know people. Yeah. Everybody has a different story, and it's been a real adventure just meeting people, and you can't help but learn.
What's the best business tool or tip that you would like to give to young realtors?
3 things. Follow up, follow up, follow up.
That's it.
That's it.
The follow up.
You can do a beautiful presentation. If you never follow up, you might be forgotten.
That's great advice. I think someone actually quoted you on a podcast ago.
It was Craig.
But Craig Stoker was like, I learned from Victoria, you got to follow up, follow up, follow up. And I think that is so true. And I think a lot of times, and not to make excuses for not following up, but I think there's always that fear of failure.
Right.
And so you go, oh, I already reached out to them once.
Sure.
Right. But really, you've got to follow up.
What if they say no?
Yeah. What if they say no?
Oh, gosh.
What if they went with another realtor? What
Right.
if they, what if they don't want to buy their product from me?
Right.
And so you don't think of going back. But it is key to be persistent and go back and follow up.
Especially when somebody's hiring you to sell their property.
Yes.
Or to find them the perfect home.
Yes.
If they know you're following up with them from the get-go, they're probably going to feel pretty good about that.
Awesome. Now, with that said, like I have to have my day planner. I have to see it, look out. What is the business tool that has helped you the most through the years?
Oh, gosh. I love a day planner.
You love a day planner,
I have
too.
to tell you.
I figured you were a day planner girl. I can
have
see
to look
a
at
fellow
it.
day planner girl.
Although iCal is pretty cool.
Ooh, what's iCal?
That Apple Calendar on your phone. And
Oh, okay. Okay. So
you don't use that?
Not really. I set alarms. That's about it. So
I set
so
alarms,
I
but then I
to
can't
be
remember what the
somewhere.
alarm is for.
So iCal, that's your technology that you go by.
That's my technology.
Yes.
Technology has left me a bit in the dust because for 25 years I've had these awesome teams of women, typically helping with marketing and just helping with life.
Right.
So being by myself for 2 years has been a real eye opener.
Do you plan to grow your team and to build a team like you have in the past?
Yes, but
Yes.
probably on a much smaller scale.
Okay.
So I do have some fabulous agents that have joined my team, but my plan is to stay, fairly small, personal,
Yes.
and just be with my people again.
I love
And that
it.
being the community. I actually didn't know I wasn't special till I left the Midland city limits.
Oh, you're special wherever you go, Victoria. I am not buying that for a minute. They just didn't get to know you yet.
Oh.
Because they would love you as soon as they did. Let's do our question of the day. Okay. Question of the day.
Let's see what
Which card did you get?
focus.
Yes, the focus card.
Who was your role model as a child?
Oh, good question.
Well, I think we often look up to our parents. My parents have great work ethic. I saw that from a very early age. They were very young when I was born, and they each worked 3 or 4 jobs just to make ends meet. My dad started college the day I started kindergarten at the Colorado School of Mines.
Oh, wow.
And so that was, it wasn't without sacrifice.
Right.
And I just really learned that hard work, there's not a huge secret.
Right.
You follow up, you work hard, and you ask for the business.
That's a good one. I'm glad you said that because I think a lot of people are afraid to ask for the business.
Scary.
And it's scary. And I don't know if it's just me, but for women, it's hard to ask for, or to
just
talk
you.
money.
It's just you.
It's just me.
No.
I knew it was just me. But I have a hard time talking, like asking for the money,
Right.
and I think as I've gotten older, I'm getting a little better at it, but you have
Sure.
to know your value and know your worth.
Exactly.
And I think that is, if I could go back and tell younger version, which I want to know
Yes.
what you would tell your younger version in a minute of yourself, but I would say don't be scared to ask for the business or
Right.
ask or talk and talk money. It's
Sure.
okay, but I think a lot of people, when you're growing up, you're just, that's not for you to worry about. You don't, it wasn't talked about. So it's like, how do you make the switch? When you're a kid, can I get that extra piece of candy or that extra? No. So you
Right.
stop asking for
Right.
the business. What would you say to that? Speak to that a little bit.
Well, as far as real estate goes, I see agents falling into the trap of discounting commissions before they even get into the meeting. And if you don't place value on your service, it's really hard to convince somebody else that this is the value of your service. And you've got to talk about the money because they're hiring you to handle what's probably the largest transaction financially of their, of their life many times.
And I would say, my husband just walked in. I would say you and Al are the best at this. He he is never scared to ask for the business. I mean, because if you don't ask, you never know.
Right.
And even on our first date, I said, "What are your intentions?" He said, "To marry you and have children." And
I love
he
it.
asked for the business.
I love it. I love it. He's a deal closer. That's
and we're
right.
going on 23 years now.
That's
this
incredible.
month. And so,
That's so sweet.
But I think it's so true. You have to ask for it. So.
Well, if you don't ask for the business, you're not going to get it, right? It's going to be a no. What's the worst thing that can happen if you do ask for the business? No. Is that the worst thing? Well, if you don't ask for it, the worst thing's going to happen, right?
Yes.
So,
I love it. Let's talk about your dancing, because you are a dancing queen. 17. So how did you get into ballroom dancing? Sorry for my singing. I love to sing.
well, the Crisis Center in Odessa asked me in 2015 if I would help them raise money a year from that point. I said, sure, because that's always the answer, right?
Right.
Yes is always the answer.
Yes
Think about
is the
it later.
answer. Yes.
I had not turned my TV on in 8 years. I'd not seen Dancing with the Stars. I had a vague idea because people would have Dancing with the Star watch parties.
Right.
But 11 months later, they called and said, hi, we wondered how your routine's coming along. And I'm like, who is this and what are you talking about?
What routine?
Right. Our Dancing with the Stars event. Remember you told us a year ago you would help us raise some money. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't dance. I'm super busy. We were in really busy time here in real estate.
Yes.
And I'm really was not a dancer at all. So they said, well, we've already sold 900 tickets. And I'm like, I don't dance. I certainly don't dance in front of 900 people. Oh, no, we'll sell 1,100.
I certainly don't dance in front of 1,100 people.
Anyway, that's kind of the gist of the story. They did set me up with a teacher. And I say ballroom dancing saved my life at one point because I was so busy working, that that's all I did. And I learned that I could turn my phone off for an hour because you have to be focused when you're learning the cha-cha lockstep or whatever it is.
Right.
And business didn't fall apart. In fact, my business increased by about 50% the year I started dancing.
Wow.
And I was spending a lot of time in the studio. In fact, I ended up opening my own studio, which was really just my private place, and bringing a fabulous teacher in from the country of Georgia, not U.S., that would be Eastern Europe.
Gotcha.
And I was enchanted. I'm still enchanted with the whole ballroom dance world. It's just a different life.
Well, and I, I've seen some videos. You do a great job. You really are a beautiful, elegant dancer. But I love the fact that really saved your life because
It did.
I think it's so important. Sometimes when we're so work focused, you either hit a wall,
Right.
or you find something that
Right.
really can kind of give you that love
Right.
and life again and joy, because I think life is about finding what makes you joyful.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like it brought you a
It
lot
was
of
such
joy.
a surprise.
I love it.
I didn't even know if ballroom was one word or two.
What is it?
It's one.
That's awesome. Well, we're sitting here today with Victoria Printz, and I have to ask Victoria because she is a busy lady. It's 11:10 right now. Are you good to go a little longer? Sure. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure.
Take one quick second.
Okay, and Al's gonna do some video adjusting for us. I want to talk a little bit about your journey and what you have learned the most from your journey, because I feel like it's been a beautiful one. Lots of highs, lots of lows, lots of change, lots of I would say joy. And I want to know your thoughts on your journey and how it's been for you.
Okay. I think the journey was mainly about a successful career for the 25 years that I sold real estate. Before that time on the ship, it was like, oh my gosh, there's so much to learn and know and see. And then I got really focused. During those years, I did not have children. I was single most of that time, but I had a great career. So this last 2 years of introspection has really helped me realize we all make choices. We all have choices. Mm-hmm. We make decisions, whether we realize how serious our decisions are
at the time.
Time, because it's not like at 61 I'm going to, start having children, but I will spend the time at carpool line to pick up my great nephew.
I was going to say, but you are an incredible aunt to be Victoria Printz's nephew. That would be so awesome.
I have 2 car seats in my back seat.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Love it. But I think the biggest thing I've found is that everything is not without a price. Mm-hmm. There's sacrifice. Loved my career in real estate here, and I'll love to continue it on a much scaled back level. Yeah. And that in the end, the thing that matters most to me is relationships, whether with my family, my friends, my community. And that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, you can have made lots of money, you can have lots of shoes, you can have collected lots of memories, but at the end of the day, it's about relationship.
Absolutely. What would you go back and tell your younger self?
Take a little time, take a little time, and probably at the beginning of the day, rather than jump out of bed and get to the office by 4 o'clock to do 30 handwritten cards.
4 a.m.
4 a.m. There was some early mornings there for a few years. Just take a little time and enjoy the relationships. I have had a lot of friends over the years, still have the same lot of friends, but I wish that I had maybe taken a little more time to enjoy some of the things that a lot of people have enjoyed in that season.
But now you get to. Now you get to enjoy those things.
Yes.
What do you want your legacy to be when people look back and think of you?
Well, whether I want this or not, it might be follow up.
I love it.
But my goal and my mantra for many years was to train and empower women to be the best they can be. And I can look back and say, when I look at the real estate community, at the number of agents that have gone through my training that are now business owners in real estate here.
And thriving and doing
I'm very
incredible.
Very proud of that. Yeah. And I think that is, my legacy is you leave a memory of what you do. And for many years, I really put a lot of effort into training and empowering women to be the best they can be.
I love that. And I think you've done a beautiful job at that. And you can tell when you see you with these realtors that you have really raised up and really taught them how to have those incredible relationships. You can see it in their eyes too when they run into you in the community, or I see you at an event and you're just surrounded by so many wonderful women all the time. And I think that's incredible and a great legacy to leave behind.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you want to add before we go? We've got a couple of wrap-up things that we have to, but is there anything coming into this you're like, oh gosh, Krista and I are going to visit today. I really hope that, we get to talk about this and maybe we haven't, hit that subject yet.
Oh gosh, there's so much we could talk about, but I don't want to leave the show without saying thank you. You have always been an inspiration to me.
Oh, thank you.
And you inspire so many, and thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
I see you talking to lots of interesting people who are themselves inspiring, but you are inspiring.
Now you made me cry. Well, thank you. No, I appreciate that, and I love this community like you do, and I'm more of a transplant. Been here 20, going on 24 years. But I truly love the people here and people like you, people that I have grown to know and gotten closer to through the years. And you have inspired me as well. And so I appreciate you saying that, because I think that that's what makes our community so great, and why you wanted to come back, because you love the people so much. And I get that. I mean, there really is no place like West Texas. If you live somewhere else, come see us. We're fun. Come to one of our events in wonderful West Texas. But it really is about the people and the relationships. And I truly, and you know me a little, bit about my heart, I truly, sorry, I don't want to cry. I truly want to see everybody live their best life, and I want everyone to be happy and be joyful. And
Yes.
and so when I see people doing that, it makes me happy. When I see someone reach their goals, I am over here clapping. Like when you got that top agent, how many years in a row? It's like, yes, you go, girl. You do what you set out to do, because there's enough room for everyone to achieve their goals. There's enough.
There is.
You know, I've heard this by some of our previous guests. They say community over competition, and it's like,
Wow, I love that.
isn't that great?
Yes.
It should be community over competition all the time.
absolutely.
There is enough business. Sorry, microphone hit. Sorry if that hurt your ears. There is enough, business to go around
Right.
for everybody. So I want to see everyone get their goals and reach their dreams.
And I think if we believe that nobody can take from us what is intended for us, it makes it a lot easier.
Yes.
I think there is.
Well, thank you, Victoria, for sharing today. I
Thank
loved our
you.
time. I don't
Thank
want it to
you.
end, but I know you've got appointments to go to. I've got to get to my other job.
Right.
We've got
Being a
these
star.
things. No, not a star. Just have to go do the news real quick. But and which once again, you and I both, jumping back into, because I took a break as well from news,
Right.
and you took a break. There's something about going back into something that you love, because you just enjoy and love doing it.
You appreciate
You
it.
appreciate it. Yes. And
Rather than find the hard side of it.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I'm so
I
happy.
get to do this, not
Yes.
I've got to do
Right.
this. And I think that one word switch, I get to do it, not I've got to do it, makes a huge difference.
You should write that on one of your little cards
I should
here.
put that as one of my
That's
little.
as a quote.
I'm sure I'm borrowing it from somebody else. I'll find out who said it first. But I think that is so true. In closing, we always give away a donation to one of our amazing local nonprofits, and Victoria is always supporting the nonprofits in our area. So I don't know how you're going to pick which one we're going to give a donation to.
Oh my goodness.
But if you had to pick one, which one would it be?
Oh gosh. I love participating with several
I know
nonprofits
you
because I
do.
think there is so much need, always will be,
Yes.
which just means we always have the responsibility to be serving others. And oh gosh, I think around the holidays, I'm actually doing a little something for Senior Link, Senior Life.
Yes, Senior Life.
Right
Our
now.
friend Kathleen Kerwin
Haney. Yes, and what an incredible team she has.
Yes.
But there are so many homebound seniors
Okay.
that kind of have been forgotten, and I
Yes.
think it's nice if you can send a little card or, something with, Craig's organization where they're delivering all of these meals.
Right. Meals on
You know,
Wheels, Odessa. Yes.
Help with that. One time I bought Girl Scout cookies and donated them to Meals on Wheels, and so it helped Girl Scouts and it helped
Yes.
Meals on Wheels. It
love
was
that.
great
Oh, that is a great,
because who wants to eat 200 boxes of cookies?
Right. Well, I do.
I want to, but
I want to, but I shouldn't. I remember when you did that. That
Yeah.
was so great.
Yeah.
And I think every time that the Girl Scouts come around, I think about that because I'm like, what? That was such a great way to help two organizations at once.
Right.
So we will make a donation. I'm actually going to go see Kathleen today or tomorrow, depending on my schedule, because I have a box of blankets and socks because
Yes.
right now
Great.
they're doing the warming tree, and so
Yes.
you can donate, blankets, socks. So
Sure.
I will then tag on a little check and give a donation on behalf of our
thank
show.
you.
So thank you for shouting them out,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for bringing light to them and doing what you're doing for them as well. Because
Well, there are so many worthy organizations and so many people giving of themselves to help others.
yes.
So
Oh, I didn't even get to do favorite things. I usually play favorite things. And this was on my head. It was like, I have to ask her, what's the favorite house you've ever sold? Do you have a favorite one that you were like, this is the most beautiful house I've ever seen?
Oh gosh, yes.
Through the years.
There have been several really fabulous homes. Actually, the house I lived in was pretty nice in Vale.
Okay, the Metallica guy's house. Well, I'm going to have to Google it now and go look at that fabulous house. Thank you so much for sharing your time today, Victoria. I so enjoyed it. Loved every minute of
Krista.
it. And just we're happy you're back. And I know West Texas is welcoming you back with open arms.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. If you would like to share our show, please do. Please hit that subscribe button, share it with a friend. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Rig ID, Midland Cap Company, and joincapclub.com. If you need hats with your company logo, go to joincapclub.com. Also, I want to thank all of you. We have listeners now all over the world, and I'm so grateful that you are choosing to listen, to download, to watch if you're watching on YouTube, because it really, truly warms my heart that our show can help make an impact on others' lives, because that's what it's all about, is helping other people. And if this show has made a difference in your life, please let us know. Send us a comment, reach out to us. And if you would like to sponsor the show, there are sponsorships available. So just reach out to us. You can find me at Krista Escamilla on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook. Am I forgetting something, sweetie?
You're on the news.
On the news.
Every day.
But we would love for you to reach out and see how we can maybe partner up in team and support. Again, thank you to all of our viewers and listeners and watchers. We appreciate each and every one of you. And if you want to see someone in this chair just like Victoria Printz just did, let us know. We can't wait to share your story next. Thanks again for joining us. Remember my mottos: dream big, believe, and never give up. You make it a great day.